That's it, folks. The finale's here. Man, this is a crazy episode. I know I start off by saying that a lot. I mean, episode 9 was absolutely the craziest, but like, man, the things that came out of this episode, our predictions gone slightly right, but slightly wrong, but still made for good television. This is Nigerian Lucas. We're here for the finale of episode 10 of season 4 of Snowfall, Fight or Flight. Really quickly, definitely appreciate you, everybody who stopped through our live video as we recapped all of season 4. Well, the 9 episodes of season 4 beyond this one, and then our predictions going into this one. It's been a crazy ride, and man, with a finale. So we got a lot to cover with this one. So let's get into it right now. But man, what's your instant reaction after watching this episode, man?
I wondered would Mel show up again. Because it had to be a reason why you showed her in the first episode.
Yeah.
But then it got to the point I said, what would be the actual point of it?
Yeah. It was the whole idea of like, because I think for me it was like, is he having a psychological breakdown of some sort? Like, is this some type of PTSD from being shot? And yeah, we haven't seen her since season 3.
No. You saw at the beginning of season 4.
I mean, oh yeah. That's right.
She was the first, I won't say the first scene.
Yeah,
that's right. Scene.
That's right.
And we was like, well, why would she's clean now? Like, well, why would be the point of showing her?
Yeah.
And she's clearly talking to Irene then.
Yeah.
And then that ties everything together of him finally putting it together like, you're the reason she came after me.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to get revenge.
Yeah. So we got to see Mel. Mel has returned. And all she wanted to know was, did he kill her dad? Admit it like a man. And he said, you'll never hear from me again. And he gave a sucker answer, like kind of mumbled under his voice, like, yeah. But like, it took him 10 episodes to drop that cane. Once he dropped that guilt, he dropped the cane, and he's on his puppet.
Ain't that some shit for symbolism there? Like, he only had the cane for guilt reasons because he never really needed it. Now, we've seen this nigga limp in multiple parts of this season when he tried to do anything without the cane.
He shredded off. And like, I don't think there's nothing else symbolic about it because like,
that's it.
I tried to look for something deeper and I didn't find anything. So
it was really I finally let go. And now I can walk.
So like, is there more to make of Mel after this now? Like, she got her piece and I guess he got his.
Yeah, that's it. She got the answer that she wanted. And so I'm assuming this presents closure for her.
Yep.
Of finally thinking she's not crazy. Because, remember, when she initially thought that Franklin killed her dad, she was cracked out. So she never knew if, I think it was a certain amount of guilt she may have carried, thinking, what happened if I shot him and he didn't do this? And it was just the drugs that made me think it. And I think the key part was her saying, let me know I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
That you did this. And him letting her know that, and then he might as well moonwalked out that damn place, man. Oh man,
he definitely shredded out. Man, there's so much to cover this episode. I don't really know where I want to start. Like, to be honest, the big chunk of this episode was definitely in the very middle when there was just so much built suspense. Everybody's pointing the guns at everybody. You have the trio of people, the trio of people pointing guns at each other with Alton, Reed, and Franklin. And then you got Scully, who has returned to form, who's in full-blown assassin mode, who had the gun pointed at...
Again proves he's the world's worst assassin. Who gets your boys to go out to find information and then you go by yourself somewhere? Come on, man. Come on.
Poor Scully, man. But, like, to be honest, like, it's a lot. Like, first of all, Louis, man. I swear to God, I was screaming in my head like, "Oh, come on, y'all! Yeah, I know y'all not gonna do this again to her." And like, I was yelling. I was like, "Please, no, shoot Louis, man!" But she was the one who talked Scully down. And I think it should be noted that he's not dead. I don't think so, but
He looked pretty dead on the floor. But you know, they didn't give him a definite death. But
Yeah.
I think they showed from the amount of blood he took a gut shot. So I was surprised he
Yeah, he was
lasted
definitely
that long.
hurt. Yeah, he was definitely hurt for a while. But I mean, I don't know. A quick prediction: do you think he's dead, or do you think they're leaving it open for the possibility?
I think you can. At this point, what would be the need for the character?
I don't know, man. I mean, Scully in a wheelchair could be very comedic, man.
No, no, you can't have him there for comedic purposes at this point. Like, no. I think this whole season was just closing a chapter.
Yeah,
This
a lot.
this was what I thought it could be, which would be an episode of, okay, we're gonna give you another season, but these characters ain't gonna be the ones that you need to pay attention to.
Okay.
And I think Scully, or my farewell, Sully, this will be his last episode.
Okay, fans, definitely let us know in the comments. Do you think this is it for Scully? And would you be sad if this is it? I mean, like,
I would be. I would. You know, I love this dude, man. He's freaking amazing to me as an actor. But you know, let's get on to bigger and better things. If you're gonna end it with him here, you know, let's somebody out there. Well, clearly it won't be 50 Cent. That's all.
Yeah. But I'll say this too. I say if they gave Manboy such a epic death, I mean, we're going to get Scully very.
You know, Manboy was like in the making. Knows Scully was never Manboy. Manboy was hated. He needed that death.
Yeah, but still, like, we got a character. We know that one character's definitively dead, and the other character's in limbo right now. We really don't know. Like, there's no way of telling. We didn't see a stretcher come out.
He looked like he was dead with his eyes open though there, which would happen from that type of gun wound that he had. No matter how much he tried to pack it. Like, I think the key part was showing was when he was like packing it with gauze, like that was gonna help. Like, normally if you get that shot, that's kind of it for you.
He was bleeding out. I mean, he definitely is in critical condition. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But like, I don't know. I think I would have liked more complete closure than this idea of like, we don't know. But definitely, folks, let us know in the comments if you think he's dead, and if he's not dead, how would you like to see him return? In what capacity? In what shape? Wheelchair or strutting with a cane? Somebody else picks up the mantle. He pulls out. He grabs the cane and says, "I'll do it myself." He hits the Thanos moment.
He better not. Not a chance in hell, Jim. Not at all.
Man, look, when Sissy said she was going to go to the meet, I mean, I think us along with everybody else was like, this is it. This is the moment everybody predicted was going to happen. She inadvertently gets shot in this situation. So I was definitely at the edge of my seat like,
hey, but I predicted something last week. And I said, well, maybe she don't die. But then they go off to this foreign country and like she's left in a situation where it's like, Alton? And he's nowhere to be found.
Well, yeah, I said that too. Teddy. I said that, yeah, either that or I said she went and he never shows up, or he said he was going to go. Mm-hmm. But like they played it in a different way. That's why I was like, we're slightly right, but slightly wrong. Like, but I will say this. As soon as Reed said that he had to go away for a while,
you knew what he was going to do.
I was like, oh, come on.
It was like, nope. Because he's not going to leave any loose ends around. He can't leave loose ends around. Yeah. But it's also finally got the conclusion that everything he told Irene was true. As I kept on saying, I think everything he's telling her is true. Everything he told is true. And that's what made it such a compelling story to her, is that he was telling the truth.
Well, slightly, because they're going to replace him, but they don't seem to have like completely outed him. They're just like, we're going to replace him. We know he's out there, and it is what it is. Like there's no.
I think they would have hung him out to dry if the story would have broke. They would have hung him out to dry. I think that part was true, and he knew it. Like, no matter what, and if Alton's story would have came out, they would have easily hung him out to dry, and they would have cared less about him. But that's why he killed them. It's to contain his anonymity, because that was his key part.
Yeah, man. Another thing that was slightly predicted was this man Franklin is solo dolo out here.
Hey, I said it. I said it in our live. I said, what happens if, well, he's clearly not, because he clearly told one of them, you ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. Well, that goes into my next question is, folks, what do you think is up with Leon now? What is going to be the whole ordeal? He said he's out the game. He done seen enough. He done been through enough. He don't want to sell a drop more of drugs. He said he is done with that. However, his massa said, you ain't going nowhere.
Hey, that was the Franklin moment for me from, I think it was season 3, when he was in the jail and they was beating him up and picking up, and then he just had enough and he like laid it out, what I will do to you if you think this is going to continue. That was the same thing he did to Leon. Like, no, nigga, do you know what I went through for you?
Yeah.
Technically, everything bad turned when he decided to defend Leon.
Yeah.
Like he could have given Leon up.
Not even that. Ever since Leon decided that he was gonna go out on his own, and he said, "I'll be the plug. I'll get the plug. I'll do my own thing." And which is crazy is because I got a ton of questions for everybody tonight. Is that knowing that what Leon did and how that worked, it is a slight difference here. But is there any possibility that Jerome and Louis takes the same fate of thinking they can do it on their own and they're big and bad and they don't need him, and it ultimately blows up in his face? Now, trust me, don't nobody come for me and saying I'm comparing Leon to either one of them, because I know there's a lot of experience over here, as Louis stated, and as she, basically laid down her card saying, I ran into you when you was gone, I got it right with Scully, and Jerome basically got it right with the projects right now, so they got it down in Little Rock, so like they get it, and they said that they will pay double of what they're getting from Reed, so the money's good. But like, is there any chance? I got a 2-part question to this, but is there any chance that they take that Leon left and just mess it all up?
I think it is 1,000%. So I think it's a chance.
Okay.
Because I mean, before she was shot, them two wasn't solid. How long do you last in the honeymoon of y'all being cool because she's recovering? Like Jerome wasn't cool with that move down south. He literally told her, "You're setting all these people up to die."
Yeah, but I think he respects her so much that he quickly overlooks that. I mean,
he didn't overlook it down there until she got shot. His
sure.
overlooking didn't turn until she was hurt.
But remember, like, he realizes that his decisions have had major repercussions. So her coming to the funeral is his fault.
How long do you think it's going to last now that the power dynamic has switched between them? I'm
very adamant about him loving her so much that he will absolutely stay by her side.
I can let you know, through television history, sir, that never happens. What happens is eventually he ain't gonna be going for that, like, she run everything. And we kind of know that for them to succeed, she has to run everything.
Yeah.
Like, it can't be through Jerome. So when it gets to the point where she's no longer recovering, and whatever business they set up or whatever that they do, I think eventually he's not going to be for it. But here's the weird part, though. They did all this to separate themselves from Franklin, and then they said, we could get it somewhere else. You could, but you're not going to get it at Franklin's quality.
True. That was never discussed.
Yeah, no, we've seen it happen when other people thought they could get product.
True. I mean, but this conversation with them, that wasn't discussed. I'll say another thing too. Quality and quantity. Yep. I mean, before, Gustavo still, we see Gustavo still loaded, and obviously they're not slowing down shop. They're just, Reed was a pawn. One person in, one person out. Mm-hmm. Which actually, Reed being out actually does make better for business from over there, because the last person's just going to follow suit. So it all depends,
though. Because we saw Reed go and do things that someone else possibly wouldn't be willing to do. They're going to be like, look, the goal is the product. We don't care. Like, we're not taking risks for the product, though. Like, we'll exit out of this before that happens. Reed took risks with his life. to keep
True,
that
and
thing
yeah,
going.
and we saw what happened to Homegirl, who his connect in Nicaragua. What happened to her? So like,
Yep.
I can see, but like it could go either way. So, but either way, it does not seem like there's going to be an issue with product coming in. I mean, that was not discussed either. No one said like, well, what about? Nah, we seen, and I think that's why you had to see Gustavo being loaded, no, and them saying we're going to replace it because no one was at a sense of like, oh shoot, we're
But
screwed.
remember what Reed told Franklin. Keep on doing everything with Gustavo until my replacement comes in.
Yeah.
Because he knows when that replacement comes in, things may change.
Possibly, but yeah, like you said, Gustavo's still this point, and if Gustavo stays true to his character, he's not even going to care who that replacement is.
Now, what happens if the price of the brick goes up on Franklin?
I mean,
it should actually. You're the United States government, nigga. I don't care about you getting it at a cheap price.
that's a very like really deep thought.
And think about it. Reed's already done that to him once.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
Reed doubled on him. Like he told him, like, no, not this price anymore. You'll pay double now.
The only based on my knowledge of the war on drugs is that the product goes up when the war goes sour. So right now the war is still very much heightened, and it doesn't seem like it's going to stop just yet. But I can see that truly being a plot point going into next season. I mean, we know it's coming at some point.
Yes,
but like
the war just end. It does end.
Yeah, it does end, and they will probably pawn it on that new person because I mean, like at this point now, I don't know. And that's the thing. What do we do with Reed next? We'll talk about next season predictions in a second, but I don't know. I see Jerome just loving Louis so much that he's just going to stay by her side and let her lead. And I think that he showed that he was the muscle when Franklin tried to go see her. And it's like she's not seeing anybody. I mean, that's a muscle. That's like a more of a muscle statue than the kingpin boss guy. Like he's like, I'm answering to her. She said this, and that's what it is. And even in the club, that it felt like that dynamic. But I mean, I'm not saying you're not right, but I mean, it could be a possibility that the hierarchy, because it is already in flux, that there could be conflict between the two of them. Yeah. Not to mention when they get around other people and they see that, they're like, yeah, you listening to her. And you know,
that's where the conflict comes in.
And not to mention too, when he went back around the projects, I mean, at that same token too, when he felt that power and that acknowledgement, that made him feel good. Like, and I think when you talk about the conversations that they had, that's what they were doing while they were by the bed. He was letting them know, like, we don't need him. And she was like, yeah, we certainly don't need him. And he must have just been really feeling like, with everything going on and with her being, you know, essentially potentially on her deathbed, like he was just like, we gotta look out for ourselves. And I think it like sounds like it comes from good for the better good of them, but like it was absolutely a semi-impulsive reaction to the envy that he's had for him most of this season.
There you go. Not most of the season. This has been going on for a couple of seasons. That Jerome has been very envious of Franklin. And this was his high-key play of him being envious of Franklin. But it ain't a situation where they can actually say, we don't need him. You actually still need him.
Yeah. Also, I
just need him in a different capacity.
Right. And I think I think the way that he laid out the plan, I mean, it makes sense. You're making more.
And if Franklin is smart,
I keep forgetting my part. My point. And you said this before. And I mean, it's true to this type of character. It was never really about the money. Once he started talking about expansion, kingpin mentality. Yeah. And I mean, Reed clearly isn't right. I mean, is he right? When he said Franklin's the biggest distro in the world?
Yeah.
In the world.
Of crack cocaine. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Instead of crack cocaine.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, because according to the way things working in this universe, Franklin really had the formula to cook crack before anyone else. And then he has pure coke to cut it with. I don't have to tell people math, but a normal key that you get ain't pure. It's already cut down. So you can normally double to triple that cut off of a brick that's already cut down. Do you know how many different cuts you can get off of a pure one? So yes, it would make sense for him to be that big. But also, this to me lends it to make sense for Franklin to transition who he is. Because in all honesty, nigga, I don't need to sell this shit on the corner no more.
And it should have never been that. But see, that's the conversation he had with them. Once he started saying like, so where you gonna take it, break it down, and sell it to all my people? And he was like, you didn't want small time game no more. You were talking real estate. You were saying buy wholesale.
Hey, Whole Foods, yes. You might as well say it. He was moving that out. He want that Amazon type movement, Joe.
But it's just like, and it's weird to me because it's like, yeah, that's exactly right. Jerome came at him correct, but he didn't want that. He wants to make sure everything stays the way it was, that he is on top of the hierarchy, and it's truly about control and power. I mean, all those words were thrown around to him, and it's no denying that's his truth.
How much did Franklin want the business, or Sissy wanted it, and Franklin wanted it because of her? Because Franklin has never, outside of Sissy making moves, he's never showed an interest in building a business. He wanted to build a network, yes, but he wanted to build a network of people selling crack. He never had interest in the business aspect. Business didn't come into play until Sissy came into play.
I also don't think that term just is very synonymous with like what drug dealers do. I don't think they say I'm running a business. I think they're just saying like I'm just control of everything. Essentially, it is a business, but I don't think his mindset was like that.
Jerome was saying you want to be out the business. He was laying the foundation like you wanted to be out. You want to go to real estate. That's not what Franklin wanted. Sissy wanted it, so Franklin would pursue it because she wanted it.
Okay, so dumb moment. When he said that, I thought he was saying real estate in the sense of when
blocks of control.
Yeah,
like that type.
Yeah,
He was talking about
like a foundation. Yeah, okay. I know that's what Sissy wanted, but like I that's what I took it. I thought he was saying like you wanted real estate. You wanted to be the top person that
because he was saying that you wanted out. This is not what you wanted. And the thing with Franklin didn't even bring up expanding as much as Louis did.
Sure.
Like, I think here's the weird part. At the amount of money
he brought it up, but like, I mean, Louis' mindset was always the bigger picture in a sensible way. And Reed was pretty much the trigger here by saying, I can get so much more. And he was essentially it was just like, yeah, she has a good idea. I'm gonna run with it. Let's do it.
And let's get more coke. We can rock it up quicker and expand it more.
Yeah.
But if you listen to the way Franklin talk, he clearly is talking like a dude who like, nah, what I have is making money. Yeah. I don't need to expand. I think again, the business, the real estate stuff, that was to please Sissy. If she's not there, he doesn't feel the need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, the first thing he said to Leon was, we got to strengthen the projects.
Yeah, the small game.
Yeah, instead of saying, hey, flood them with more bricks. Yeah. Because if you, what I wanted Franklin to do there, more than anything, is make the power move. The same power move that Reed made with him. When Jerome said we'll start off with a couple bricks at 10 or 12, if Franklin had the mentality, his thought should have been, no, you want to separate? You start with 15 or 20. 15 or 20 bricks at 12 or 14 per. And then you can get out. Because that threat about going to someone else should have been laughable to him. Like everybody else tried to do it. Go to someone else.
Yeah, he was just hot. I mean, yeah, he brought up the Leon thing, and he said, how did that go? So, like, either way, this entire episode got Franklin hot. Everybody was coming for him, and essentially solo dose. Something else I want to bring up really quick. So, I just glanced at the hospital scene. If Scully would have died there, wouldn't a forensic team be there?
Not on Snowfall.
Let's
be realistic. Let's be realistic.
He's in the hospital. All I'm saying is there's just a cop getting testimonies there. So I think
we never got access to the room. We don't know what the hell was going on in there. Yeah, all we know is Jerome telling Franklin Louis don't want nobody there. And no,
Yeah.
they wouldn't have done forensics because they're in a hospital already. So forensics would have been unnecessary. So
Yeah.
all they would have done would have gotten his body, because you do forensics to say, well, you clearly know he didn't get shot in the hospital. So all of that happened elsewhere. So the forensic team would go wherever else they could trace him back to going to before, but
But
not
either,
necessarily the hospital.
yeah, either. I mean, I don't know. Either way, if he's alive, then he's still gonna be in custody
Oh, he's
because,
in jail. He's in jail.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like there's no out for him here.
yeah. But I don't know, man. If he gets there, maybe he ends up in the same jail as T's brother.
Which could happen.
Could be something to be told there. I mean, he's still out there, and T's still out there. So you don't know. You never know. But yeah, I mean, going back to to about 20 minutes in the episodes where we had pretty much what do you call it? Everyone being held at gunpoint, a standoff. There we go. I legitimately was concerned that Sissy was going to get crossed in the crossfire, but it was so intense that I just kept thinking, like, what is the smart play here? And I just kept thinking, how is it going to work? And then once Sissy started talking, I was like, they're going to go to Cuba. And she called her play, and you can never really read face and everything. But like, I knew by no means it was just going to be that easy. It just nothing about it was just settled. Like, I was just like, yeah, that's a temporary fit. And like, even when he came to the airport, he was like, oh, you wanted to see him off? He was like, something, and then he was like, all right, I'll be back in a while. I was like, that motherfucker about to jump on the back of the plane and be in a cargo
and kill both of them. Like, there was no way that was going to turn out positively.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of thought, okay, he's clearly going to kill the shit out of Alton.
Yeah.
And I think it was more of a test. Again, he told Franklin this already. Are you prepared to lose people? And Franklin has proven over and over again that Alton is a weakness.
Yeah. I mean,
because this dude can exploit you for anything at this point.
Yeah, we got to see Brother Alton in the beginning of the episode, as we got to see sort of their relationship when Franklin was a child, and when he was full blown Black Panther, and he would say, "You're not standing for the national anthem." Was that really a thing back in the day, or was that just something that just randomly just started to happen now? Because I definitely do not ever recall.
Depending, well, keep in mind this is supposed to be technically, if this is 85, that would have been Franklin in the 60s, early 70s. So yeah, around that time. As a kid, I mean. So yeah, around that time, yes, it was a thing for people not to stand. That's when the Black national anthem started coming to fruition.
True. That's right. But it was interesting that it was Alton's decision to meet Reed, because he figured out he was going to settle this in a way. And
I don't know why he thought
for the longest, I kept thinking, like, what is the play here for both of them to vent and then one person get caught slipping? So, I mean, I never manifested anything, but he did.
Reed was going to kill him. That was clear.
For sure. And Franklin got clocked over the head, and then Sissy was there for him. And I think that's when I started to really realize the idea that it wasn't going to be Sissy to make the decision today. It was going to be Franklin who was going to be stuck in a rock and a hard place to deciding who was he going to pick. I mean, because it's just more, it's more dramatic for him to have to pick 3 people instead of Sissy picking 2. So it was like, are you picking Reed? Are you picking your mom? Or are you picking your dad here? And like, it was definitely interesting. So, I thought that, that was the right way to handle that. But now that they're in Cuba, now they got to connect. Also, it should be noted that regardless of what anybody thinks, as fans, or even us, or should I say me, the streets love Alton. And when Hot 97 called in with that very exclusive interview.
Wow, Hot 97. Was he talking to Ebro? That's what he was talking about, talking to her there. Or was that nigga on Vlad TV? He claimed he was on Vlad, because he was snitching his little heart away, Joe.
Oh my God. I was like, yo, this type of stuff just drop on the radio, but like clearly, like like for me, I was like, oh, the streets is hot, but like they actually turned the pressure on the government. I'll tell you this. We need to revisit whatever happens to him. next season. The government is not going to be happy about that. Not at all. Not at all. That was the biggest pile of loose lips I've ever heard at one time in a radio segment. And you know they're gonna have to see what's up with that.
He gave up the aliases, said I got the real name, nigga. I got pictures.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah, he was like, yeah, we're gonna turn the heat up on them. Like, oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. I think that's the key part of that conversation later on with him and Franklin. When you're like, and you're scared of him? And he like, you're not? Like, what sense would that make not to be scared of them?
Yeah, but yeah, I think that, it should be known that the streets love Alton. They think he's a hero for what he's doing. So
that was just other crackheads in the street.
Yeah, but I will say, but again, for what it's worth, if he has to if he does somehow make it back, then he essentially has asylum back home. Because we
can play the odds. What are the odds that you think Alton survives wherever the security is with Reed?
Oh, you know what? We can get to that 1 second. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else we have to cover with that? Man, all I know is that if Sissy would have got shot, I just do not know what would have been made of Franklin's character after that. Because
remember, I said he had to lose her.
Yeah,
but he actually ended up losing her.
Exactly. I was going to say that. But yeah, we seen. I really, really love that scene of him hugging her before she got on the plane, and he was choked up and could barely look at her. And then there's still weird energy between him and Alton. Like, it's like they're like looking at each other like, I see you. No, I don't see you. Like one of those type of things. Like, I think that as much as he had said before that it wasn't his responsibility no more for her, that he definitely was letting him know, like, now you have to take care of her. But it should be also noted, too, that she said, I'll be in contact. We still got a business to run. Sissy may be in Havana with Tupac, but she still is setting up shop. So
they better not open up a hotel in Cuba.
Oh, come on, bro. You know I was going there. Real estate. You know it. Know it. But yeah, other than that, once they got to the club with Jerome and Louis, the energy felt off in the whole scene, and you can tell. And I love how they did that. Like when you feel uncomfortable, because he was all excited and it was all mellow, you was like, oh, something's about to go down. Like this is about to be that tough conversation. It's about to be one of those ones where you're like, oh man, I'm about to lose my job. And essentially that's what happened. It came in there, it was like, yeah, we're resigning. No 2 weeks. Like effective now. And it is what it is. And now we started seeing the demise of Franklin's whole family business structure. And essentially Franklin solo dolo Saint is now in business by himself. And I at this point, I don't know who, besides Peaches, I don't know who has allegiance to him at this point.
Do you need allegiances if you have money to build allegiance?
Possibly, but I mean,
to bring a more interesting question with Franklin is kingpins tend not to have people who came up with them next to them. They tend to either kill them or they die.
Yeah.
So they tend to grow up because they understand the power that they have. And Franklin still has the most money. He has the supply. He clearly has the power.
Yeah.
So what does it do for I'm more interested to see what does it do for everyone else?
Yeah.
Because are we going to get into a world where without Sissy there, without Louis and Jerome, do we get the more ruthless Franklin that everyone has been waiting to see?
I think so. I mean, at this point now, who is our villain? Or who's going to be our likable, hateable person? If Scully's gone, who is that person? Reed never, ever hits that plateau. He's just operating in this nice medium of good guy, bad guy. But, like, if Scully's gone, if Manboy's gone, who is that likable, hateable person? And could it be the return of Hollywood Hulk Hogan, Franklin Saint, for this next season?
I would think it would be amazing if this season the illusion of Franklin being a good person drops.
Yeah. Drops with the cane.
Yeah.
Soon as
symbolism with the cane.
Yeah.
Because
don't make it that.
if
Nobody gonna like
he
that.
turns a heel turn here, a hard heel turn here, man, you can have a very different season, but actually a realistic one.
Mm-hmm.
Because then we're getting into the area of he's a kingpin, and he's the biggest kingpin of this.
Yeah.
At that point, like, man, he could become ruthless if he wanted to.
I tell you what, actors and actresses looking for a business. There seems to be a lot of slots that's going to be open because he's going to have to build some soldiers under him, and he's going to be roles. Maybe the dancer girls, maybe they side with him, but like,
oh, you already know they siding there. They already there. Oh. They on the payroll, man. Like,
unless Uncle Clifford already got them.
Yeah, I mean, if they at the pink, I don't know. But I don't think Uncle Clifford and Mercedes has the money to keep them locked in. But I think
he can barely keep the club open.
I think it would be a very good story moving forward if we see the ruthless Franklin and it's led by his ruthless killers. And you have Peaches as his main bodyguard. You got these two stripper, badass chicks going around murking people just as like to state Franklin's claim. Because at this point, there's no one else there.
Yeah.
He can literally build his organization out and be like, everyone falls under me.
Yeah.
Straight Christopher Walken, King of New York. If a Nick bag is sold in the park, I want in.
Yeah.
Like that's the Franklin I want to see.
That could be interesting, man. I mean, he's the lead of the show, and for him to have the most dynamic in his character, this makes the most sense. So,
yes.
Let's talk about predictions for next season really quick. The last thing I want to say is Leon giving advice, and he basically said, give them what he want. They'll respect you if you do so. And, if they find somebody else, you're short of money. But if they don't, then, it is what it is. Either way, you let them decide their own fate. That could be interesting going into next season. But then he said he was out the game. We already made that joke about that. So that's that. And then, again, this episode ended with him going to see Mel. And they had confession time. And he dropped the cane and he rode off into the suns.
Great confession time, Joe.
So I think that's it I got for this episode. Yeah, that's about it. Crazy dope episode nonetheless.
What are you about to say? Quickly. And it's very odd that it just popped into my head of another show with a very likable guy who's a really bad person, and then they do a heel turn on him and they completely make him bad. It reminded me of Tony Soprano.
Thought you said that like before.
I may have said that before in comparison to the being likable bad guys. Yeah. But now with this possible turn that I can see happening, because Tony does a turn in The Sopranos where he is clearly not remotely close to being a good guy.
Yeah.
You understand who he is and how ruthless he is.
Yeah.
And I think that's the turn you need to see with Franklin. And I think they really set him up in this episode of you understanding how big he is.
Yeah.
That whole conversation between Alton, I about to call him Teddy. Jesus.
Same. And
Reed.
Teddy.
Yeah. But I was about to call him, I feel bad calling him by his real name. But between Alton and Reed, that conversation about Franklin really pinpoints for people who may have forgotten how big Franklin is.
Yeah, he said first of all, he said your son is funding the war. Franklin is the largest in the world, the largest distro in the world. And yeah, I think it was a lot of realism going on. It was nothing but facts.
From Reed pinpointing to him like, no, I didn't do this.
Yeah.
I didn't flood this city with bricks.
Yeah.
No, your son did.
Yeah, your son did. Yeah,
That's what he wanted. I followed through with what he wanted me to do.
Yeah.
And I think that coming into that realization takes away that Franklin's the good guy and he's working for the government thing. Because, some people were holding on to that. Not understanding, no, Franklin took a drug dealer's connect, which happens to be the CIA, and then told the CIA, you could double to triple to quadruple 10 times the amount you were giving me, and I'll make it work.
Yeah. Talk about symbolism. What about Alton reading the book, The Spook Behind the Door?
And the spook comes in behind the door.
Really? But yeah, let's give our predictions really quick, so we can kind of wrap up and talk about next season 5. So we do know they have been officially renewed for season 5. I think that was about episode 3 or whatnot.
Yeah.
But based on what we know now, again, I'll bring this question up: what's up with Leon? What is the next step for Leon's story? He still has his love interest Wanda out there. And whatever that's worth. But where do we see Leon going forward here? The church?
I don't think that drastic, but I do see him as being someone who's going to want to get out of this game. And he's going to be held there by Franklin.
Okay.
I think, and I know it's, you asked me what about Leon, and I'm going to jump to someone else, but only because Leon is going to play a pivotal role to me in the monster we see Franklin become.
Okay. Next question, folks, and all you all answer these as well too in the comments below. Did Reed kill Alton? Did he actually pull the trigger?
Yes.
My answer is no. I think he holds leverage over him now.
But you got to give me what leverage would he need?
That is the thing, because we don't know Reed's position as of right now. And that's the thing, we just don't know. We don't know enough about Reed just now. Reed still knows all the connects in Nicaragua. He may not be going on the government's payroll, but he still knows people. Reed is not written off. So there has to be a purpose to Reed as of right now. And I think that's why I was left the way it was, is that him as Alton essentially giving up himself and, made peace. I think that was more of a surrender towards Reed. And I think that's leverage that he's going to use for something, but I just don't know yet. But I think there's going to be more to that. And you have to think, if Reed kills Alton, then Sissy is going to be completely frantic. And that also affects Franklin. So it's a trickle effect, which could ultimately be Reed's hold over Franklin, but Monster Franklin could be a whole nother ordeal. So I don't really have like a strong idea of what, but I think there will be some form of a hostage situation with him knowing his location. And I think Reed will make sure that Alton doesn't tell Sissy that he knows that they're there, because that could also jeopardize everything too, because the idea of them being there, being away and being at peace also gives Franklin peace that his family's good. But if Reed knows where they're at, then that's a liability for anything that Franklin may do. Like, for instance, what if Franklin gets so much supply that he can't move it? And then Reed gets mad about that because there's no return.
Oh, then the CIA would just kill Franklin. That's not a Reed issue. I don't think that's a Reed issue at this point. And I think that's the good part of them separating Reed.
But also, Gustavo has allegiance to Reed. That's 100%.
Yeah, he has allegiance to Reed, but actually what happens with the money and the bricks that are moved has nothing to do with Reed.
Also, what about the CIA finding what's her name for Gustavo? I wonder what's to make of that as well too.
Now that is a key part to me, clearly, in the next season. That's a key part. But as far as it goes with I do think Reed kills Alton. And I just think that Alton's body will disappear though. Sissy won't be able just to go back there and see Alton dead, because I don't think that's Reed's motive moving forward. He needs to separate himself and be like, look, I don't know what happened to him.
I don't know, man. It'd be interesting now, or it could be anything. Alton could go back and cut another story to clear Reed's name so that Reed can get back into business. It could be anything. Who knows? Next question, Scully. I brought it up. I'll bring it up again now as we conclude this review. Is he alive?
Yeah, that's clear. I've answered this already. This is for you all.
I think Jesus is going to touch him and spare him for all that worship him he's been
Jesus
doing.
gonna touch him right at the pearly gates. He gonna be right there with him.
and lastly, the question is, who is left? Who is actually left in circle with Franklin? Who is his contacts now? The family is completely divided. Everyone's going their way. He is looking like Mr. Solodolo, but is there anybody that makes sense to besides Peaches?
If I say
that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
And my girls.
Yeah, and the girls, and yeah, he dropped his. Yeah, that's
you can use them to take over the world. Hellies, yo. Them and Peaches. They shoot this shoot it up.
Hey man, I tell you a wild prediction. You give me a wild prediction as well too. What's to say Scully is alive, but he runs with Jerome and Louis next season.
Wild prediction. I'll use the same person. Scully is alive, but he becomes Franklin's number 2.
Woo. That could be crazy.
Franklin makes a deal with him.
That could be crazy.
Like, hey, you can control whatever you control.
Yeah.
You control it with me as my number 2. And in return for Scully agreeing, Franklin gives Scully Leon. That's my wild prediction.
Woo. Yeah, yours better than mine. I don't got nothing that complex, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Well, definitely, folks, in the comments, let us know what you thought about this finale and overall this crazy season. This was definitely a way better conclusion to this season than it was in season 3. And I know people like season 3's finale, but like this one was dope. This was the one that I think a lot of fans are going to be satisfied, and we got a lot of confidence that a lot of good things are going to come as we get into season 5. So definitely let us know your thoughts, your theories, your predictions, your reactions, all that good stuff about this episode. And this will do it for us. We'll return for season 5, but make sure you subscribe because we got other shows, as you all have requested, that we're going to be reviewing as well too. So we appreciate your love and support. And thank you for watching, folks, and we'll see you all for Snowfall at some point, whenever it returns. But for more reviews very soon. So thank you for watching.